Jarren Duran just continues to put himself on notice across fans of Major League Baseball as he won the AllStar Game MVP award on Tuesday night.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part is it's completely free. So you might as well take advantage of that and check it out because Locked On really is here for you every single day. This episode of Locked On Red Sox is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Locked On Red Sox. We are almost back to having Red Sox baseball. Just one more day. Reminder that they do start a series against the Dodgers over the weekend all the way in LA. So they do have a late one tomorrow night. First pitch at 10:10. I definitely don't like those kinds of games where we're staying up super late, but hopefully the Red Sox make it worth it. Come out with a good, strong start to the second half after this All-Star break. You really don't know how a team's going to come out and what they're going to look like, but hopefully they have a lot of momentum from the first half that they carry over into the second half. And one player who I know will continue to dominate in the second half is a guy who has just been explosive in all areas of his game this season and has just clicked all the right buttons and done everything right for the Red Sox this year in Jarren Duran. And he further solidified himself as one of the best players in baseball right now by winning All-Star Game MVP on Tuesday night. This is a guy who didn't even make it in the fan voting to start the All-Star Game and then had to rely on the rest of his peers to get him into the game. So I was worried that there was a chance he wouldn't even be on the All-Star Game roster. And I kept pushing and pushing for people to vote for him. And then finally he got the opportunity to go to his first All-Star Game. And he was talking about how he had called his dad when he found out that he was going to be an All-Star, and they just cried on the phone, which I think is just amazing and just super adorable that he has that relationship with his dad. But it was such a cool moment for him because even though he wasn't starting, he still made the biggest impact in the game, and that's what Jarren Duran does. Every night when the Red Sox play, we always find ourselves talking about Jarren Duran because he makes an impact in some capacity in every single game, which is super fascinating and makes him such a fun player to watch. And on Tuesday night, it was no different when he became the fifth Red Sox player ever to receive the All-Star Game MVP award. It was a tie 3-3 game. Unfortunately, Tanner Houck gave up a 3-run homer earlier in the game to Shohei Ohtani, which, I mean, if anybody was going to beat you in the National League, I mean, honestly, Ohtani would be the guy. So then the AL came back and tied it at 3 in the bottom of that same inning. And then Jarren Duran came up in the fifth inning, his first ever All-Star Game at bat. And he joined J.D. Drew in 2008, Pedro Martinez in 1999, Roger Clemens in 1986, and Carl Yastrzemski in 1970 as the only players in Red Sox history to win an All-Star Game MVP. He stepped up to the plate for that first All-Star at bat, crushed a 2-run homer 413 feet to right center field on an 86-mile-per-hour splitter off of Reds pitcher Hunter Greene. It was super cool for him to experience that moment when he became just the 14th Red Sox player to homer in an All-Star game and the first since Adrian Gonzalez did it in 2011. He had just entered in the top of the fifth inning as a defensive replacement in center field for Aaron Judge and remained in for the rest of the game and ended up going 1 for 2. But what a cool moment for him to just step up to the plate in his first All-Star Game at bat ever and just crush the go-ahead home run to give the American League a 5-3 lead that they would not relinquish. I was so happy for him. He's just been through a lot off the field with some anxiety and depression struggles that he's had to overcome. And he's overcome struggles on the field in terms of getting his opportunity and earning his playing time. But he's now become one of the game's top outfielders. He's the first American League player ever to have 100 hits, 20 steals, 10 triples, and 10 home runs before the All-Star break. And his turnaround truly has just been nothing short of remarkable, really. He batted just .219 with a .269 on base percentage, .354 slugging, and .622 OPS in 91 games in 2021 and 2022 combined. That was 335 total plate appearances. But he's on pace to start all 162 games for the Red Sox this season. And the Red Sox feel like him doing so will set an example for the organization's top prospects like Marcelo Meyer, Kyle Teal, Christian Campbell, who will all start to make their way to the majors within the next year. And Alex Cora wants Jarren Duran to be the leader of that group, especially to somebody like Roman Anthony, who also plays in the outfield. Having Jarren Duran to guide him will be a great way for him to ease into what it's like to play at the major league level. Cora had said, as a group, we need somebody that people look up to. Who better than your leadoff guy that plays every day? I mean, he's really molding into just a truly special player. He has a .284 batting average on the season right now, over 398 at-bats, 62 runs scored, 113 hits, 41 RBIs, 34 walks, 98 strikeouts, 10 home runs, and 22 stolen bases. I mean, he is really putting up impressive numbers this season for a Boston Red Sox team that really needs it, because having that momentum of him hitting at the top of the lineup and being able to go out there and get himself on base the majority of the time and likely steal a base when he's on has been absolutely key. They even said it on the All-Star Game broadcast on Tuesday night that look out if he gets on base. And opposing pitchers know that he will rattle them because he is the biggest threat to run when he's on base. And his future is so bright with this Red Sox team. And it's just been particularly fun to see him go out there and attack every game like it's a do or die game. And he just wants to win. And he wants to put himself in the best position possible for the team to be able to succeed. And the season he had last year seemed to be foreshadowing that he had the potential to be one of the best players in the sport. And it's not only because of his stats on paper, it's also just because of everything he can really do. You can look at his numbers on paper and say, wow, that's a solid player. But the fact that he's super athletic and can do a lot of different things, he has good defensive versatility. He has the base stealing aspect that I talked about before. His numbers at the plate are very competitive. He's just relentless. He has the power, the speed, and the durability to be able to do a lot of different things and make different things happen when he's at the plate. And that's the type of player that the Red Sox definitely are going to want to hold on to. And when they're looking and talking about their future and who's going to be part of the picture in the grand scope of things down the road, there's no way they could possibly look at Duran and say that he shouldn't be part of the future and will not be, because there are just so many aspects that he brings to the table that make him truly a special player. And I'm so excited to see what he does in the second half. And it was such a cool moment for him to go out there in his first All-Star game and win MVP. It certainly put the league on notice to him, has other people buzzing and talking about him on Twitter and how good of a player he actually is. So I'm super happy for him. Could not think of any more deserving players than him for that MVP award. So I'm really looking forward to what Jarren Duran does here moving forward as the Red Sox make a playoff push. Coming up, I'm going to be talking about a big prediction about this Boston Red Sox team that an icon in the Boston Red Sox organization made, and I'm sure it'll make you happy. So make sure that you stick around for that. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. eBay Motors is an absolutely great resource if you are trying to learn more about cars and different car parts that you need. So check them out today. Are you looking to score last minute good deals on tickets to any event? If so, I highly recommend checking out GameTime. I love going to different sporting events and seeing different stadiums across the country. And I've utilized GameTime so many different times to get tickets, and it really benefits you to do the same because they really will filter out the prices and are more competitive than other ticket vendors because of the fact that they will give you the best seats for the lowest prices. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Just download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. You really will not be disappointed with it if you want to get the absolute lowest prices. So check out GameTime today. Also, check out Locked On Sports today, as we as a network have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. It's available on YouTube and Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app, and it will keep you up to date on all things going on in sports, no matter where you are at. So make sure you subscribe to it. As the Red Sox are getting ready to amp up for the second half of the season after the All-Star break, there were some exciting things that took place in the All-Star game on Tuesday night, like Jarren Duran hitting a go-ahead home run for the American League and winning All-Star Game MVP in his first ever appearance in the big game. Definitely very exciting. And Big Papi, David Ortiz, absolute Red Sox legend, was giving his prediction for the World Series after the game with a couple of the other Fox hosts like A-Rod and Derek Jeter, also baseball legends. They all were standing on the field and they gave their predictions for who is going to be going to the World Series and who's going to win it. And Big Papi gave an answer that I think we all as Red Sox fans could be very optimistic about. He is feeling very high on this team. Derek Jeter went up and said that he was picking the Phillies to win over the Orioles. A-Rod picked the Yankees to win over the Dodgers, and Ortiz yelled, "Not so fast, big guy," in response to A-Rod's Yankees prediction. You guys might think I'm crazy, but I got to go my Red Sox. And he put the Red Sox helmet on and started poking Jeter and Rodriguez with his finger, basically talking about how he's confident that the front office is going to make some moves and get what the team needs to win a World Series. He said, "We're going to get the Phillies at their house. We're going to finish them off. Dave Dombrowski, my guy, watching us, good luck." As the Red Sox currently stand third place in the American League East, 4.5 games behind the first place Orioles, and the second place Yankees are 1 game behind Baltimore. The Red Sox are also third in the wild card standings behind the Yankees and Twins. And according to Baseball Reference, the Red Sox have a 66.7% chance to reach the playoffs, which is very high. And earlier on in the season, we definitely did not think we'd be having that conversation when the Red Sox were 14 games back in their division. And now all of a sudden they're right in the mix to have a chance to even win the division. And Alex Cora mentioned that that is now the goal. They shouldn't be just settling for a wild card spot. If they have the opportunity to win their division, that's going to be the next goal. They're going to go out there and see what happens. And if they win the division, that would be pretty crazy considering everything and all of the odds that were stacked against them prior to the season starting and even into May when the Red Sox weren't playing good baseball and people thought it was going to be a tough season. But some guys on this team right now are making a lot bigger strides than I think anybody expected, like David Hamilton, like Jarren Duran, like Cedar Rafaela, like Wilyer Abreu, guys who Red Sox fans have been excited about, but needed to see more of. And the growth that they've all shown at a rapid pace this season has brought lots of promise to a young Red Sox team that really has been focusing on building and establishing its core for the future. So I really am optimistic about what I've seen from a lot of these guys. And, I don't hate Ortiz's pick. Obviously, I am a Red Sox fan, so I am going to be biased towards that and hope that it's correct. But he's not far off base with the fact that if things click for this Red Sox team, they have a shot. And baseball is a crazy sport in that you don't need to be the best team on paper all season to win the World Series. I mean, the Diamondbacks certainly were not one of the best teams on paper last year. They did not win over 90 games. And then they went to the World Series. Nobody expected that to happen. And it's cool when teams like that make it to the World Series because then it goes to show that if a team clicks at the right time, anything is possible. And why not them? Why not the Red Sox, a team that's very hungry and wants to win? They do have to make a couple moves at the trade deadline to make that happen. But David Ortiz seems to think that Craig Breslow is going to buy, and he has hinted over the last week or so that he's leaning in buying mode. He came on the NESN broadcast during one of the games last week, and they asked him about the trade deadline, and he mentioned that, this team right now is very good. They don't want to give up assets that are going to contribute a lot in the future, but they do need to think about what they need to get to make them improve. And I took that answer as him saying, we plan on buying and adding to this team to make them better at the trade deadline. And I hope that that is the case. And with David Ortiz and what he's saying, I mean, we've seen this Red Sox team play very good baseball, and they've shown that they can win big games and beat the teams that are very competitive. Like they won a series against the Phillies. They've won 2 series against the Yankees so far this year. We'll see what happens in this upcoming series against the Dodgers, but they are beating good baseball teams and putting pressure on those teams to have to play their best baseball. And that's very positive for the Red Sox when it comes to being able to overcome hardships and overcome all the injuries that they faced this year. That's another big factor in how this Red Sox season has been going, is they've not been fully healthy pretty much all season long. There has been injuries to a lot of key players like Garrett Whitlock, Tristan Casas, Trevor Story, Lucas Giolito, who was supposed to be a big part of the rotation this year. Rafael Devers and Tyler O'Neill both have faced some injuries early on. Wilyer Abreu was on the IL. I mean, the list really is endless with how many injuries this team has faced this year. But as a result, we're seeing some of these young guys start to blossom into the players they're becoming, like a David Hamilton, who people didn't think was going to develop at as quick of a rate as he is. And he already had the natural raw speed ability on the base paths. But the fact that he's starting to grow in terms of his plate discipline and his approach on offense, he's going to be a very valuable young player. And obviously, injuries are never fun and we never want to see them happen. But when you look at this Red Sox team right now, considering everything, if you take all of the injuries that they've had, and then you look at their performance and the fact that they're sitting here and they're 11 games over 500 is pretty remarkable if you really take it all into account. So it's very exciting to watch this team right now. Will they win the World Series? I mean, maybe not. It's hard to just predict a team is going to win the World Series because it's really hard to know that. Any team can come out of nowhere. But do I like the Red Sox chances right now to be able to come out there in the second half and put themselves in a spot to be in the conversation to win the World Series? Absolutely. And if they go into this trade deadline and they make the necessary moves, they have just as good of a chance as anybody to go out there and win the World Series. And their attitudes and that never give up mentality of constantly being in games is one of the biggest things to me that has me sitting here saying they have a shot. So as for Big Papi and his prediction, definitely a bold prediction. They will be far from being the favorites if they do end up going all the way to the World Series, but you never really know. And a lot of times it's the team that comes together with people knowing their role. And I think you have guys like Jarren Duran who now know their identity as a baseball player and what their role is going to be on this team to put it in the best possible place to succeed. So lots of promising and exciting things going on for this Red Sox team. It is going to take that unity, people staying healthy, everybody performing and sticking to their specific role of what has worked well for them all season long to make the Red Sox a contending team. But I really don't hate Ortiz's prediction, and it's going to be exciting to see if they live up to this hype that we've seen from them over the last month or so, because I feel like we're in for a treat when it comes to this second half and how much fun this Red Sox team is having while playing baseball. Just got to keep carrying that momentum over and just continue to play at their best level. So prediction, can the Red Sox go to the World Series? Absolutely. I totally could envision it happening. Just got to stay consistent and on point with what has worked for them really well over the last month. And one of the things they're going to have to do over the next couple weeks is be buyers at the trade deadline if they want to give themselves a real shot to contend. So coming up, I'm going to be talking about a familiar face that could be reunited with the Boston Red Sox at this year's trade deadline. This episode of Locked On Red Sox is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rivals' cities. With hotels, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival's city. For example, I'm a Red Sox fan, but I could go to another city of an AL East opponent and really enjoy it. There's different events in every city and different things to see. So if you utilize Booking.com, you can find hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts. They just have so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. If you love to travel like me, this will definitely come in handy for you. So make sure that you check that out for your next trip. Also, check out PrizePicks if you're looking for a fun way to play daily fantasy sports. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every week. From lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into 1,000. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's PrizePicks. It really is easy and will not disappoint you. So check it out today for all your fantasy sports needs. Also, just a reminder to check out Locked On Sports today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. You can find it on YouTube or on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. We as a network have launched it to keep you up to date on all things going on in sports with all of our experts here at Locked On. So make sure that you stay up to date today and subscribe to Locked On Sports today. With the trade deadline being right around the corner and all this talk of the Red Sox having a chance to go to the World Series, which they absolutely do if they buckle down and stay consistent and healthy with the way they're playing now, I see a team that can be very competitive. And in order to enhance that competitiveness, they definitely do need some help at the trade deadline. One glaring weakness right now is the lineup's overall struggles against the left-handed pitching. They overall, as a team, do not do a good job of generating runs when there's a lefty on the mound. So that's something that they could find a solution to at this trade deadline. And another one is acquiring a starting pitcher that they can slot into that rotation, which would be absolutely huge. And there has been some buzz about a former Red Sox player potentially being reunited with the Boston Red Sox, and that is Justin Turner, who could come in and help in the middle of the order. Because of the trade deadline being in a couple weeks and him not having the best season this year, he would not be very expensive if the Boston Red Sox were to go get him. And last year, he was good in Boston. He hit 23 home runs with an 800 OPS, while also really bonding with Red Sox fans as if Fenway was the only place he had ever wanted to play. He and his wife just fell in love with the city and the culture and the environment in Boston. And I was really hoping that the Red Sox were going to re-sign him this season. But he does have just a 680 OPS this year in his age 39 season with just 5 home runs over 310 plate appearances. But he does have an 812 OPS and 68 plate appearances against lefties, just slightly below his career 825 OPS in that position. And the Green Monster is his old friend. He has a career 822 OPS against all pitchers at Fenway with 13 homers and 18 doubles in 81 games. So he definitely can hit well at Fenway. And even though this season, from an offensive standpoint, hasn't been his best, that doesn't mean that the Red Sox wouldn't want to trade for him because of his history of being successful in a Red Sox uniform and being successful as a hitter at Fenway overall. So I think the Red Sox will consider it. I mean, especially with the fact that the asking price won't be very big for him. And with where the Blue Jays are at right now, they are definitely going to be in sell mode because they are just not having a season that they had hoped that they would. Lots of guys underperforming or just not living up to expectations. And so for a guy like Turner, this is the opportunity for them to move him to a team that is looking to contend this year, and they can get a good return on him. And I feel like if the Red Sox are as serious about being buyers as they say that they are, this is a very formidable option as somebody who does hit well against lefties and could really help enhance that middle of the lineup to make it more competitive and beef it up a little bit. And also his leadership goes without saying. Lots of Red Sox players talked last year about how he was just one of the best leaders to ever come through that clubhouse. And that's saying a lot with all of the guys who have worn the Red Sox uniform in the past. So it's very telling that the guys liked and respected him when he was playing in Boston. And I think for somebody like Casas, who plays first base and got a lot of help from him last year, the growth that we saw in him was tremendous. And so I feel like Turner could come in here and be a good support system in the second half for some of these younger players who aren't as used to playing under pressure in the high leverage situations. And if the Red Sox do make the playoffs, having him around for that run could be tremendous in terms of the ability he has to just help these guys and utilize his experience. Now, on the flip side of that, do the Red Sox want to give up young talent for Justin Turner, who likely would be a rental and be a temporary solution for this Red Sox team? Not necessarily, but I really do think it comes down to the asking price. I feel like the Blue Jays won't ask for a whole lot because they know he's not having a fantastic season and it doesn't really make sense for them to be paying him this season anymore. So I feel like they will not ask for a crazy amount in return in terms of the ability of players that the Red Sox would have to give up. And if that's the case, I think they no doubt should pull the trigger. It could just be for the rest of this season. And how nice would it be if Justin Turner is able to bring things full circle and come back to Boston, a city he adored when he was playing here, and help this team get in position to win a championship. So I feel like it could be a good solution for everybody because of the fact that, Tristan Casas has been out for a while, and yes, he's supposed to be coming back soon, but he could split some of those at-bats with Casas, especially with a lefty on the mound, and it would just help balance out the lineup a little bit more. So I definitely think the reunion is possible. I don't necessarily think it's an imminent thing, and I don't think it's something that definitely is likely to happen, but there's certainly a chance, and I feel like Breslow will make moves for an offensive player who hits well against lefties that could come in and DH on days when there's a lefty on the mound and trade for a pitcher. It's just a matter of what he has to give up for those players and the caliber of players those end up being. So if they're looking for somebody who's going to be on the cheaper side, who can come and help out temporarily, I feel like Turner could be the way to go. He was one of the best, most consistent hitters this Boston Red Sox team had last year. And it was fun to watch him out there and play baseball with this team. And a lot of these guys just had nothing but tremendous things to say about him being here. So overall, it makes a lot of sense. I wonder if the Red Sox feel the same way and feel if they trade for him, he could help put them in contention, or if they would be a little bit skeptical because of the season he's having this year. But it could be a nice cheap option as somebody who could just help fill a little bit of those holes that the Red Sox have been looking for. But I hope they do make the moves to add to this team. With the way this Red Sox team has been playing over the last month or so, they've shown that they deserve to be invested in, and they deserve to have a front office that's going to have their backs and believe in them and give them the chance to win, because it could be such a letdown for these players if they are excited to see what the Red Sox do to add to the team to help enhance their position and standings within the American League, and then having the front office go out there and not really make those types of moves and instead sell players off. That would be really upsetting and discouraging for a lot of these guys, I feel, who just want to win baseball games and want to go out there and do the best they can to compete and be the best they can be for their team. So hopefully Craig Breslow and company hear this all and that they've been watching this team and they realize that this team is worth investing in as much as the rest of us have seen that this team is worth investing in. So I'm excited to see how things go at this trade deadline. I mean, it's right around the corner now. The Red Sox have made things very clear that they are a good enough team to be able to compete and that they deserve to be a team that's being invested in, and they deserve to have assets added to be able to put them into contention. But Craig Breslow makes those types of decisions. He and John Henry have to be able to have that ability to recognize that and make the decisions that they are going to be willing to trade for guys, even guys who are temporary that won't be here in the long term, but could help put them in position to succeed right now. And the younger guys need more veteran leadership on this squad too. So it certainly would help from that standpoint as well. So if they want the cheaper guys who have experience playing at Fenway and showed that they can really warm up their bat to Fenway Park, I think Justin Turner could be their guy. So watch out for that over the next couple weeks. Definitely a storyline to keep an eye on. Again, nothing's guaranteed. I don't necessarily know that they will for sure trade for him, but certainly a possibility that I've seen come up and somebody who could be a viable trade option for this Red Sox team where they wouldn't have to give up a whole lot. So hopefully they buy. Hopefully that this season just continues to go the way that it has been going over the last month plus for this Red Sox team. This could be a super fun team to watch in the second half. They just got to keep working hard and keep focused on the goal of making it to the playoffs and then also hopefully making it to the World Series. So as always, as we watch this all unfold, you've just got to keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.